haven't had him on the airwaves here at the Run Home with Joel and Fletch, but he has played a pivotal role in the recent success of the Sharkies, which I suppose if you went through the last 3 or 4 years since Craig Fitzgibbons turned up at Cronulla, taking out the Melbourne Storm at Penrith, I'm not sure there's a team who's won more games than them. Has there been, would you say?
I don't have that information on hand at the
Where's
moment,
your data
Joel.
points, Brian?
Yeah, I'm not a big data man. You know that.
You're not a big data man. This man is the General Manager of Football Sharkies fans for the Cronulla Sharks, Mr. Darren Mooney, one of Rugby League's great guys as well. I'm pleased to say he's on the program. Darren, good afternoon.
Joel, good afternoon. How are you?
Mate, firstly, before we get into the Rugby League, I know you like the ponies. He's an astute judge when it comes to the horse flesh. Brian, how was the Spring Carnival for you, Dazzler?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, mate. You had a few winners across the carnival. The last weekend wasn't the best, but the early couple of weeks were pretty fruitful for me.
Been very fruitful, your signings. Addin Fonua-Blake's the big one. Take us down that path. How did that happen? Did you always know you were going to get him? Were you concerned about maybe missing him? How did let the listeners, the Rugby League faithful, know how signing somebody like an Addin Fonua-Blake, an expensive commodity, how would that play out?
Yeah, I guess with Addin, Joel, we never planned to sign Addin, and he was contracted to the Warriors for a few extra years. So obviously there's that complication there with working through with the Warriors on how we'd be released, and we didn't really have the money. We didn't have a plan to go after a marquee front rower. But if you look back to that time, I think we'd released Matty Moylan to Lee, and we released Connor Tracy to the Bulldogs. So we had a little bit of salary cap space to play with, and to be honest, his manager called us, wanting to see, if we could accommodate it. So we had plenty of meetings and shuffling of numbers, and we didn't think we'd sort of be able to get in the ballpark, but we thought we'd have a crack anyway and meet him and see how, if he liked what he was going to be walking into, what sort of environment that he was about, I guess in the end we got him, and it was a credit to everyone involved that was part of it, and it was a credit to Addin, wanting to be part of our organisation. So yeah, we can't wait to get him on board, mate.
He's a good get, and I tell you who else is a good get. Re-signing of Braydon Trindall. Hey, Darren, what's it now? What does the contract situation look like for young Daniel Atkinson? Has he got just 1 year to go?
Yeah, Daniel's off at the end of 25. So so. Obviously, he's a player that, we'd like to keep around, and we're working through that at the moment. But, yeah, he's got 1 more year to go. So he's had a breakout year, and deservedly will get interest from other clubs. So it's kudos to him.
Do you feel that he will be there, a Shark, in 2026? What's your gut feel?
Well, that's an interesting question, Fletch. I think he will. I think he'll stay with us. We backed him and brought him down from the sunny coast, and he's a loyal guy. And if we can sort of come up with something that's reasonably attractive to him, or hopefully he keeps loyal to us. But look, we're only in the infancy of that at the moment and working through it. So you never know what will happen in those situations. But look, we'd love to keep him, and I'm sure he'd love to stay. But it's just going to be how it all works. He loves living in the Shire. He lives down at Cronulla now, and so yeah, we'll just let that one play out.
I heard he likes Bondi too. I heard he loves getting it up there at North Bondi, just jumping off the rocks. Hey, Darren, can I ask a question? Whether or not you can answer this, I'm not sure. I want to ask you about the salary cap in relation to Ezra Mam. If he's stood down by the NRL for, say, 12 months, but they don't deregister his contract, does that, the first year of that contract, because I know he's re-signed, does that come under the salary cap?
My understanding, it would be, yeah.
It would be.
So it's like any suspension, you have to pay the player, whether it's an on-field or off-field indiscretion. So it would just depend if he still had a contract the year after, yeah, it would come under the salary cap, from my understanding.
Okay. What if they said, righto, deregistered the whole contract? Can you deregister, can the club deregister it, and would the NRL accept that?
Well, and then sign him again the year after,
yeah, and then sign him the year after.
Oh, I don't. That smells a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah. I don't know if that would work. I think it's like anyone. It's like Josh Adokar or whatever. If you're going to be terminated, you'd be terminated, or if you stood down, you stood down. I mean, we went through that with Braydon Trindall this year.
Yeah.
and work with the NRL and the RLPA on what all that looked like. I don't know if that would be allowed. I've never sort of heard of that one before, but it's I don't know what happened say in the because it's not a mandatory stand down, is it?
No.
It's not a.
Well, they can use their discretion. I'm just thinking about when Jake Friend, the Roosters did that to Jake Friend. So he had a 2-year deal, and they basically said, "No, you're gone, but you're going to work." He went out and worked at a cafe down there in Surrey Hills, and then they re-signed him the following year on a totally new contract.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting one, Fletch. I'm not sure.
Okay. Chatting
with Darren Mooney. Darren Mooney's the general manager at the Cronulla Sharks. Now, Darren, we've had on the show, we've had Frank Panisi, general manager of the Melbourne Storm. Shane Elford's doing wonderful things there at Penrith. Paul Bunn we've had on the show in recruitment. So too Peter O'Sullivan. And your name is well and truly at that table now. Tell us the Darren Mooney story. How did you, I know most of your journey, but tell the listener the Darren Mooney story as to how you ended up being the general manager at the Cronulla Sharks.
It's a long story. I've been involved in footy, Joel, as you know, probably since the late 90s, various roles. But yeah, I guess how I ended up at the Sharks was back in about, I would say end of 2009. I left the Tigers there, and Ricky Stewart and a guy called Richard Fisk got me over. So did my first sort of year at NRL level, I guess, back in 2010 under Sticky. So, and then just went from there and spent that for the first 7 years at the Sharks, then spent a bit of time at the Knights. Had a bit of time out of the game for a while, and then back to the Sharks again. So so it was a lot of work in pathways and understanding how it all works right throughout. Worked in welfare pathways, recruitment, footy ops. So just done the whole lot just to try and learn how it all works. And it wasn't an overnight journey to get here. It was like I said, 25 years in the game. But that's sort of in a quick summary of how I got here today, Jolie.
Yeah, Briton Nikora, you've seen him along the whole journey in that. You've done well to wrap him up again, haven't you?
Yeah, that was a really good signing for us. And Britt and his partner Shara, their three boys, they're just a big part of our club. And, he didn't want to go anywhere else, and we didn't want him to go anywhere. And it's just trying to work out how it all looks. And, it's really important signing for us, mate. And he's such one of the elite back rowers of the competition, and not just his line running, but his defensive movements, his how he defends, and he's a real fitsy sort of player, and we just love having him at our club.
Hey Darren, how's all the construction going on down there? Is it by kick-off next year? Is it all going to be up and running?
No, our CEO Dino, Mr. Tester, and Steve Mace, they look after that. Our chairman, that's been a lot of heartache, and I don't think we'll be having the Leagues Club open by the start of the year, but I wouldn't comment on how it's going because I don't really get too involved in that. But it's been a lot of work for those guys behind the scenes trying to get that sorted, and a lot of frustration.
Okay. When you go to Vegas, will you be going into the high rollers room, or just with the plebs with us over in March next year?
No. I generally don't go with the high rollers, so I'll try to be with the plebs. But because I feel I can fit in better down there. But yeah, I'll be definitely having a dabble somewhere.
Have you been to Vegas before?
No, I haven't. Only once when I was quite a young kid. Yeah. But I haven't been to Vegas before.
And are we doing the same? Are you aware of the logistics and stuff? Are all the players staying in the same hotel like they did last year?
Yeah, we're all staying at Resort World. So
okay, yep.
I think the two away teams are in the Hilton, and the two home teams are in the one next door.
Yep.
So we'll all be staying in that Resort World area again. Is my understanding.
Geez, you must be devastated hearing about all these operations, Edwards and Cleary and Talangi, and geez, that must be
not ready for round one.
Sad news. Round one, Sharkies taking on the Panthers. How's the take-up been, Darren? I'm actually going over there with a few Sharkies fans. Do you feel as though it's going to be well represented, the Cronulla Shark brand in Las Vegas?
Yeah, our marketing team are saying that they had a meeting yesterday, and the ticketing from the NRL was saying it's pretty good uptake from. At the moment, I think they're 70% higher on ticket sales, I think, than they were this time last year, I think. So I think there's going to be a lot of people from the Shire over there and cheering on the Sharkies, and a lot of Panthers and Warriors and Raiders and all the mad Englishmen over there supporting Warrington and Wigan. So I think it's going to be an unbelievable event.
Now, Daz, I understand you're a mad pacer. Like you like getting out there, getting your steps up. What are you trying to hit per day?
No, I don't. I don't even keep a tally of them, Fletch.
Sure? Are
I
you
just,
sure? It's my spies are telling me.
No. I generally have a lot of phone calls to make each day, so I tend to just go and watch training and just walk around and make all my phone calls and ring everyone back. So, yeah, I do a bit of pacing, but I have absolutely no idea of how many steps I do.
Okay. Now, Darren Mooney we're chatting to. I'll tell you what, Brian, they've pinched one from rugby, Callum Grantham, this young kid coming through. I reckon, I'm going the early crowd. Crow me. This kid, Callum Grantham, will one day be the NRL leading point scorer. He's a sharp shooter, Brian, and a bit like a Matt Burton, I reckon. Is that fair, Darren Mooney?
Yeah, Cal's. We signed Cal till I think 2028, and I think he's got all the skill in kicking, passing, running. So we've got high hopes for Callum. So hopefully he can reach that potential. But that's a lot of work ahead of him.
Kade Dykes, where's he at? I mean, I think the whole rugby league community just want him to click. There's no doubt he's a talent, and his dad, superstar of the club, of course. Adam, great family. Can we see the best of Kade in 2025, I should say?
Yeah, we hope so. Like, he's still going through rehab. It's been a really complicated rehab for Dykesy. He's been in across the break, and I think I saw him yesterday or the day before. And I don't think he's quite running yet, but they're taking it really slow and trying to work on it. But hopefully we see Dykesy in the early rounds, and we can all sort of see him realise the potential we all know he's got, because we really think Kade's got a great future if he can get that body right.
What are the Sharks and other clubs for that matter, Darren Mooney, need to do to close the gap on Melbourne and Penrith? What's the big chunk of a gap? What do you see? Is it the training? Is it just the superstar power? Why are these two clubs at this stage just that bit of a gap ahead of everyone else?
Yeah, that's a good question, Joel. Look, they're obviously the best defensive teams, so it's pretty simple that if you get that right, you're going to compete with them. And this year we were up there the first 10 rounds, and it's about consistency for us. I think we won 9 of our first 10. And then we had a bit of a hiccup in the middle of the year where I think we won about 2 of our next 8. So that was when we leaked some points during that period, and Fitz and the coaching staff got it back together in the back end of the year. So I think it's definitely around our defence and how our consistency of our defence more than anything, because we're not far away. And
no.
I think you mentioned that. I think you mentioned at the top, and the stat is that since Fitzy's been in charge, there is only 3 teams that have made the top 4, more than once. And it's us, Penrith, and the Storm. So. We might not be we're getting criticised for maybe not winning a few finals games, but like you mentioned, wins, and I haven't looked at that stat, but you're probably right. We probably are coming third in wins since the big man's been in charge. So yeah, we're definitely up there, but we were disappointed in how the season ended last year, and I've never seen the coach more disappointed. We just didn't bring our A game to that game, and we know we can do it, and we just have to bring it on the big games. So. We're really excited about bridging that gap this year, Jolie. So I can't wait.
Beautiful.
Hey, Darren, how's your halfback? How's Nicho going? How's his body? I know he's had a few issues with his calves and his legs in the last couple of years, but is he all good? Is he back training full time?
Yeah, the boys. He doesn't return till the 6th of December, but he's been back in doing some extras. I've seen him around the last couple of weeks. So he's full and fit, ready to go.
Has he got a partner? Has he got a?
Yeah, he's got it. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I've heard that.
She's a lovely girl, and he's very happy.
So he's off the market.
I'll tell you what, Nicho, Brian. So Nicho obviously has the touch football background, and as a result, I reckon he's just about the best player in the comp when it's on the front foot. Because in touch football, you're on the front foot. You get to pick him apart. He is unbelievable in that scenario.
I'll raise you Cody Walker as well.
Okay, Cody Walker, much the same, who has the same background.
There you go.
I think the signing of Addin Fonua-Blake, Darren Mooney, is the greatest thing you could do for Nicho Hynes. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a good call, Joel. I think probably not just Nicho, but I actually think he's going to be really good for our young forwards. But for Nicho, I agree with what you're saying there in terms of footy perspective, and I think him and Tricky, him and Braydon Trindall, I think will really benefit if we are on the front foot. And look, I think most teams are good on the front foot, so in the competition. But I think if Addin can add that to our game, and Nicho and Tricky can get on the back of that, and Blake Brayley and Willie Kennedy, I think it's going to be hopefully an exciting year for the Sharks.
Final question, Darren Mooney. Is your 30 sorted for 2025 or is another missing piece of the puzzle? Where are we at there?
We're not quite sorted, but, we're happy with what we've got at the moment. We don't have to fill it all till, I think, round 1, so we've just got to just looking around what we might need, and but yeah, we're pretty sorted at the moment. We're pretty happy with what we've got. I think we have something like, Joel, 27 players in our sort of. I've got 34 odd full time at the moment that have played NRL. So we're really happy with our list and the young blokes coming through, and so we're not really in the market looking for too much. And if something pops up, we might have a look at it. But there's nothing that we're really urgently trying to find. We're very happy with what we've got. General
Manager of the Sharks, Darren Mooney. The text board's melted down. They love you, mate. So we maybe need to hear more from you in 2025. If we don't speak beforehand, which we most likely won't on air, Brian, have a great Christmas to you and your family, and all the best for the Sharkies. We'll see you in Vegas, Darren.
See you at the MGM.
No, thanks, Joel. Thanks, Brian. Talk soon.
There he is, Darren Mooney. Very, very impressive, that's for sure. He is sharp. And it's these people that just behind the scenes who all ships rise with the tide, Brian, and they're doing good things at the Sharkies. They probably are the third seed at the moment. Can they close the gap on the Melbourne Storm and the Penrith Panthers?